He'll reset. Nowitzki again for the lead. Bang!
4-game win streak for your Dallas Mavericks. And Kristaps Porzingis, the unicorn himself, is back in the starting five. What's up, everybody? I'm your host, Jimmy Crowther, here for all things Mavs, breaking down the 11-point win over the Charlotte Hornets. Luka Doncic, near triple-double. Kristaps Porzingis back and looking just as good as ever. And I'm going to talk about all of it on tonight's post-game breakdown of the W for your Mavs, who are now 6-4 in the Western Conference. First 10 games, 2 games over 500, and now on a 4-game win streak, which is tied for the best in the NBA, along with the Boston Celtics, at least as I record this video. Now let's start off with the news of the day. Kristaps Porzingis did play, and he played in 21 minutes in this game. And I know most of you guys are probably tuning in to find out just how good he did or how well he did. Well, he did pretty darn well. 16 points, 4 rebounds, 2 blocked shots, went 4 of 9 from 3, and played, as I said, 21 minutes. He checked out at about the 8-minute mark of the fourth quarter, and really, up until then, he was playing 100%. I was super excited with what I saw out of him, and I'm going to talk about his game and how he scored. So this first bucket for him, so he took his first shot, missed it, and then the second trip down, he comes down, knocks down a deep three-pointer from the top of the key, as we have become very accustomed to him seeing from him, and it looked as smooth as ever. He was at least a good 3 feet behind the three-point line, knocked it down, swished it with ease. And then he had a nice little, I wish I could reenact it for you guys, but it was like a jab, and then a cross, and then a step back, and then he knocked down a three-pointer. What 7'3" guy is doing that? Like, maybe Kevin Durant at 7 foot could do it, but I'll tell you what, no one at 7'3" is going to do what Kristaps Porzingis did on that shot by being able to cross over, step back, and knock down a 3 with pretty good range. So, first 2 buckets were 3-pointers, and then he had 2 nice little layups. He had a pass that he caught in the corner, and Miles Bridges closed out on him. He drove, jabbed left, and then drove baseline on Miles Bridges, and I thought he was going to dunk it, but it was a nice little finger roll finish. It was really finessed, and I was pretty happy with it. Then he had one where he was cutting down to the middle of the lane, caught a pass in traffic, went up like he was going to dunk it, but he kind of gathered himself and had a nice little floater. I thought it should have been an and one, but they didn't call it, and he still made the layup anyway. And then the second half, he made 2 buckets. They were both 3-pointers from the same exact corner. One of them was just a straight up wide open 3. And then the second one was a pump fake to get himself open. And then he knocked down that corner 3, finishing, as I said, with 16 points, 4 of 9 shooting from beyond the 3-point arc, and one really strong block shot and another block shot, so giving him 2 on the night. Rick Carlisle was interviewed after the game, and he said, "I thought he played exceptionally well given the circumstances, and he'll only get better from here." Now, I'm going to talk more about Kristaps Porzingis' impact on this team as a whole, but I do want to mention this off the very top here. If you're a subscriber of the channel, first of all, thank you. Make sure you subscribe. Second of all, you've probably already heard me talk about how this was going to open up the floor for every other Maverick, how this was going to do so much on the offensive end for the Mavs in terms of having a 7'3" unicorn that can catch lobs, but can also knock down deep three-pointers. Well, I was right about that, but something I kind of forgot about is just how much Kristaps Porzingis' defense impacts the Dallas Mavericks, because his length on the interior is something that the Mavs don't have. Even Willie CauleyStein, who's a pretty solid defender and adds a lot of length to this team, can't do what KP does in terms of turning away drivers, because he's 7'3", and when his arms are up in the air, he's basically as tall as the basket, and he can jump higher than most 6'10" guys. He's got a great vertical as well. So the Hornets were driving into the lane, and every time they saw KP come in, they were scared to shoot, and for good reason, because the guy will block anything that comes his way. I forgot just how important he is on defense. And then in terms of offense, yes, he opened up the floor, but something I didn't think about and something I never even took into account, I don't know why I didn't mention this, but when Luka steps off the floor, Rick Carlisle likes to sub in KP and kind of stagger them a little bit. Now, obviously in crunch time, they're going to play a majority of the minutes together, but when Luka needs a little break, KP can kind of hold his own with the second unit. That's something Dallas hasn't had, because now they have the luxury of having 2 all-stars in the same team and one of them always being on the floor. And we saw that happen tonight. Obviously, a little scaled back than normal. He wasn't on a tight minutes restriction, but clearly his minutes range was in that 20 to 25 range, and that's what Rick Carlisle kept him at 21. So again, good night from Porzingis. I'm very encouraged by his first game back in a Maverick uniform. But another guy we got to talk about, I mean, I would be crazy not to talk about the night that Luka Doncic had. 34 points, 13 boards, 9 assists, 4 blocked shots, and 2 steals. And as Rick Carlisle said, that box score is amazing, but it doesn't even do justice to just how good he was in tonight's game. Defensively, he was all over the floor. His passion was showing all night long. He was shooting decently well from 3. He made 5 tonight. Actually, not even decently well. Really well from 3. Went 5 of 9 from beyond the three-point arc. 14 of 25 from the field. That's well over 50%. I cannot rave enough about Luka Doncic. And honestly, it gets a little old talking. I mean, it doesn't get old watching him, but it gets a little old talking about him because he does these things on a nightly basis. But the thing that has continued to trend upward, 2 things. Number 1, his defense. I got into a Twitter argument with some moron that said Luka Doncic wasn't a good defender. In fact, he was a negative defender. And I said, dude, you're not watching games. Because if you watch games, you see that Luka can be switched on to basically anybody on the other team and still hold his own. Sometimes it's a power forward. Sometimes it's a point guard. Yeah, sometimes he gets blown by on defense. But in all honesty, his defense has been so amazing to watch. He should have had really 3 steals. He had a nice little, tap around where he kind of tapped the ball out of the guy's pocket like that on PJ Washington or Miles Bridges. I can't remember, but he got called for a foul, got called back, which I thought was dumb. Should have had 3 steals, but hey, we'll take the 4 block shots and 2 steals. What a special player. What a special player the Mavs have in Luka Doncic. And honestly, the shooting continues to trend upward and his conditioning continues to look better and better. He played 35 minutes tonight. I think he played the entire third quarter. Played the whole third quarter. The Hornets made a nice little run where the Mavs were up by 22 at one point in the third, and then they cut it all the way down to 9, and then Luka went on his own little 9-0 run that basically shut the Hornets up and sealed the game, I would say, for the Dallas Mavericks there in the third quarter. So Luka and KP, the dynamic duo is back. KP only playing 21 minutes and scoring 16 points is pretty scary for the rest of the league, and honestly incredible for us Mavs fans. But again, Luka just doing Luka things all night long. So before I talk about some more individuals, because there were a ton of individuals that I wanted to talk about tonight, I want to talk about the team as a whole. And this kind of ties back to Luka being such a good defender, but also having Porzingis in the middle. Dallas once again had an outstanding defensive night. The Hornets only scored 93 points in this game. That is tied for their lowest output of the season. It also ties when they scored 93 against the Memphis Grizzlies and lost that game. They shot 26% from 3 and 38% from the field, as opposed to 33% from 3 for Dallas, 42% from the field. The Mavs are playing some outstanding defense without 4 of their best defenders, or 3, their 3 best defenders, Dorian Finney-Smith, Josh Richardson, and of course Maxi Kleber. Those are by far their 3 best defenders. And they didn't have them in this game, and they were still able to hold the Hornets to 93 points. 93 points. Guys, the Mavs have won 6 games this year. 5 out of those 6 games, the Mavs have held their opponents to less than 100 points. And the only game that a team scored over 100 and the Mavs won was an overtime against the Denver Nuggets when they scored, I think, around 117. This team can win in multiple ways, but defensively, that's where they're going to make their money. I've said it 100 times on this channel. I'll say it 100 more times, and I'll continue to say it as long as they're holding opponents under 100 points. And the fact that they were able to do this without Dorian, Richardson, or Maxi Kleber, I'm mind blown. I am so impressed with the grit and grind of this Mavericks team. I know it's the Hornets, but the Hornets came in on a 4-game win streak, and the Mavs have already lost to them once before, and that was with all those guys healthy, minus Kristaps Porzingis. I can't say enough about the defense of this team. It's honestly incredible. So while I'm talking about the team, and I will get into the individuals here in a minute, probably after I talk about this, I do want to get into the box score of this game. Before I read down the whole box score, I do want to make sure you subscribe to All Things Mavs. Honestly, this video might get me to 2,000 subscribers, and I cannot thank you guys enough. Pretty soon, I'm going to be able to monetize this channel, which is such an awesome blessing for me to be able to bring in cash just by talking about the Mavs. Are you kidding me? Thank you guys for your support. Stay tuned for the end of this video when I'm going to have a very special question to ask you guys. And I think you'll want to give your own input on that one. But let's get into the box score. Luka led the way, 34 points, 13 rebounds, 9 assists, 4 blocks, 2 steals, as I mentioned. Tim Hardaway Jr. was your second leading scorer with 18 points, 3 assists, 2 steals, 2 rebounds, 7 of 16 from the field, and a +8 in the box score. 16 and 4 from Kristaps Porzingis, along with 2 blocked shots. Your other 2 starters, Wesley Iwundu started the game over Josh Green. Not a fan, but hey, that's okay. Had 4 points and 3 rebounds. He didn't shoot the ball well, but he had some good defensive possessions. And then Willie Cauley-Stein, I'm going to talk about him more in just a minute. 4 points, 14 rebounds, a team high tonight, and 3 blocked shots, along with 2 assists, +7 in the box for him. James Johnson off the bench filled up the box score. I'll talk about him as well. 7 points, 2 assists, 2 steals, 3 blocks, 5 rebounds. Come on, James Johnson, you're the man. Boban, 8 points and 5 boards, 8 points and 4 assists for Trey Burke. And then Josh Green, the rookie, 5 points, 5 rebounds, and went 2 of 4 from the field. Missed 3 free throws. He could have had 8 points, but you know what? I was really impressed with his energy and defense. I'll go ahead and start there. Josh Green didn't start, as I mentioned, but he did play 18 minutes. Now, he got subbed out pretty early because he did have 3 fouls, but I will say this is by far his best game as a Maverick. I know that's not saying much, but it's at least important to see Josh Green come in, be able to fly around the floor. 3 of his 5 rebounds were on the offensive end. He just plays with so much energy, and when he gets out in transition, he looks like a completely different player. Now, again, I know it wasn't a great night, obviously. He didn't make a ton of shots, but energy-wise, he's all there. He also had the best plus-minus in the game at +17. Sometimes plus-minus is, a little deceiving, but in this case, I really think Josh Green attributed to quite a bit of winning plays for the Mavs in terms of his energy, his hustle, his play in transition, and he had one really nice pass to Willie Cauley-Stein, a little underhand lob on a fast break that got Cauley-Stein a bucket off an easy alley-oop. Speaking of Cauley-Stein, 14 rebounds and 2 blocked shots. 9 of those rebounds came in the first half. I'm sold. Now, obviously, I want to see when Maxi Kleber comes back, but I am sold on Cauley-Stein being the starter next to KP because he knows his role, and that's the most important thing. He took 2 shots tonight. Both of them were alley-oops. I was a little worried about Cauley-Stein coming into the season that he'd get a little comfortable taking mid-range jumpers and 3-pointers, but he didn't do that at all. He knows his role. He grinds out defensive rebounds. He could have had a few more if he was a little bit stronger, but he just got out-muscled a couple times. And if KP's going to be in there kind of stretching the floor, you're going to need somebody to get in there and rebound. That's what Cauley-Stein's going to do. Put him next to KP in the starting 5. Bring Maxi Kleber off the bench for an offensive weapon. Maxi's obviously the better player, but Cauley-Stein might be the better fit next to KP. Couldn't be more happy with Willie Cauley-Stein. I know we talked about Trey Burke in the offseason being a bargain for the Mavs. Is Willie Cauley-Stein a bigger bargain? I think the question needs to be asked because he's getting paid next to nothing, and he got 14 rebounds tonight, and I love him. Also, 3 blocked shots. Not 2, 3. 3 blocked shots. Come on, Willie. Keep it coming. Tim Hardaway, again, a big night for him. He did start tonight. It was very confusing in the beginning because Brad Townsend and Chuck Cooperstein both tweeted that the Mavs starter were going to start Trey Burke over Tim Hardaway, but the Mavs tweeted that Tim Hardaway was going to start over Trey Burke, and then the Mavs tweeted later and said, "Sorry, made a mistake. Trey Burke will start." And then the game started and Tim Hardaway started. So I'm fine either way because either way he's giving you buckets right now. He's on a incredible hot streak. And I think the thing I was most impressed with Tim Hardaway tonight was, usually you just see him settle for a lot of jumpers, and he still took 10 3-pointers tonight, made 3 of them. But he drove to the basket tonight better than I've ever seen him drive to the basket. And I think that is something that's going to change this Mavs offense, is if he's able to penetrate the lane when guys like KP are hanging out around the perimeter. So those are kind of the main guys I want to focus on. James Johnson as well, man. He comes in, he can handle the ball, he plays incredible defense, and he gives you energy and a veteran toughness that nobody else on this team brings. He's 33 years old, but as of right now, he's going to be a free agent this offseason, and I'm already ready to give him a new contract. Not a lot of money, but enough. He came in, gave you 7 points, 3 of 7 from the field. He had, his first dunk of the year, and it was a really nice baseline drive, and 3 blocks and 2 steals. As a power forward and a small forward, you can't ask for much more. And even a small ball center, James Johnson's the man. I'm so happy he's on this team. I think he has changed this team a lot of different ways, but especially with this play tonight. So that's kind of the individuals I wanted to focus on, some of the other stuff. So, as I mentioned at the top of the show, Dallas 6-4, 2 games over 500. That 4-game win streak is tied for the best in the NBA. Now the Mavs will go to look to play the Milwaukee Bucks on Friday night. So that's going to be a fun one to pay attention to. So I will have a pregame preview, obviously, and then a postgame recap for that one as well. I'll be on the road this weekend, so definitely not going to be the normal setup. Honestly, I haven't decided if I'm going to do audio or video for that one quite yet, but I will have a postgame recap no matter what happens in that one. Milwaukee's 8-4 this year. They're coming in on a 3-game win streak. I think they play before they play us tomorrow, or on Friday, I'm not sure. I'd have to check their schedule. But also, an important note for that one, and I'll mention it in the preview as well, January 15th, which will be that game against Milwaukee, is going to be the 7th day from when those 3 Denver boys, Josh Richardson, Dorian Finney-Smith, and Jalen Brunson, went into quarantine. So the one that didn't test positive and was only knocked out for contact tracing could hypothetically return to that game. I don't know if they will. We'll see. I doubt they do, but it might be possible. And I do want to say this. Through these 3 games that we for sure weren't going to have any of those 5 or 4 guys back, and now up to 5, with Charlotte, and then obviously the last game against Orlando, and then Friday against Milwaukee, my goal for Dallas was to go 2-1 in those 3 games. They're 2-0 through the first 2, so I'm extremely excited about that. Now, if you have made it to the end of the show, it means you're probably already subscribed, so appreciate you guys, and that's why I want to ask my subscribers, or non-subscribers if you want, this question. I put it on Twitter. I'll probably put the tweet up in this corner with the poll. Do you want me to start going live once a week to do some Q&A, but also just to break down stuff that's going on with the Mavs? I'll do it once a week, probably in the mid-afternoon, maybe late afternoon, so that people that are getting off work and school can watch it as well. It'd probably be a once-a-week thing, and if people continue to like it, then I'll do it, maybe 2 times a week. But if you would watch, because I got to get votes, I want to make sure people would actually do it. If you would watch those live streams, type yes in the comment section of this video. If you wouldn't, you can be honest with me and just say, hey, I don't have time, or I'm just not going to sit down and watch you for 45 minutes or 30 minutes, whatever it may be, just type no in the comments, and I'll kind of base my decision off of your votes. So if you made it this far, appreciate you guys. Mavs, 4-game win streak, 6-4. KP's freaking back, and Luka Doncic is a legitimate MVP candidate. Thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure you give this video a like and subscribe to the channel. And as always, go Mavs, baby.